Hello and welcome to this special series of episodes called 29 Days of Magic. During Black History Month, the month of February, I'll be interviewing a Black woman a day who's from business and entrepreneurship. You name it, I'm going to have a chat with her. The idea for this is to show off the amazingness of Black women throughout various industries. I hope you take a listen, like, share, review, and be inspired by these incredible stories. Take a listen. Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Reset Podcast. I'm your host, Laura Munoz, CEO of the Culture and Communications Agency, The Flash. Each episode, I bring on a different business leader who's doing some game-changing work. This episode is no different. I'm so excited to have Andrea Opoku, who is the director at WiM and Marketing and the Africa Ambassador for the organization. It is a fantastic organization. Full disclosure, I'm a winner of an award from this organization, and love everyone on the team there. And we're gonna have a fascinating conversation about all the things Andrea does and helping to push forward the voice of women creativity. It's gonna be a great conversation. Take a listen. Hey, Andrea.
Hi, Laura. Hi, how are you?
Oh, just hiding here in New York City.
You? I'm hiding out here as well. Everything's on lockdown, so you know how it goes.
Yeah, we're almost a year into it. We can't escape. We just got used to it at this point. But even though we are locked down, the podcast still continues and goes the same. So, Andrea, what was your first job?
Right. So I was thinking back. So my very, very first job was actually, I was selling double glazing. I was in school at the time, and I think it was a Saturday job, it was in the evenings actually, and I hated that job. I was just on the phones calling up random people, trying to get one of our guys to go in to give them a quote to sell double glazing.
Wait, double glazing?
Double glazing. So I don't know in the UK if that's the thing, but it's just double paned windows in their houses. So yeah, that's the thing over here. But it was just basically setting up appointments for the sales guys to go in and visit people. And I was just sitting in an office with a bunch of other people, just on the phones, just calling up these random numbers. As I said, I didn't last there very long. It was just soul destroying. But my other first job, so after that, I worked at Woolworths. I think you had Woolworths in...
You used to, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, we used to as well. It's just a store that sells everything and anything.
Everything.
Clothes, everything. CDs, if you remember CDs. I worked there for about 4 years actually, or part-time, while I went through high school and college, and then through to university. So I was just a sales assistant there, and it was okay. It was a job, I got to meet loads of people and kind of move up to supervisor and things like that. It was just one of those places where you learn to kind of really engage with the people you're working with and the customers and things like that. So it was that was my first job. Well, yeah, that was my second job, but I think
the one to count, because it did teach you how to deal with people from all different walks of life, which comes in super handy no matter what you do in your career. Okay, so we're at Woolworths. How do we get to having a chat right now? What's that journey been like?
It's been very good, very kind of eventful. I've had some amazing kind of experiences, but just looking back, this past year, because of lockdown, I've been looking back a lot at my career and my life, and just, there's a lot of introspection going on this past year. And I realized I kind of just went to the next job. I wasn't one of those who planned out my career from the start of university and just said, I'm going to go to here, there, and kind of reach the pinnacle at this point in my life. After university, I went to do a marketing assistant role at an international language school from there, I went on to work in a company that does office fit out for companies, so commercial offices. Then I worked for Marks and Spencer Food in their marketing department. And then I went to work for a menswear company. So lots of different industries, still moving up the ladder, but kind of always in campaigns, marcoms roles, delivering campaigns, working on branding and supporting the brand teams and things like that. So it's been quite varied. And then after my stint with Bauman, which was a menswear company, I went to work for a company that manufactures outdoor equipment, so equipment for outdoor sports, so backpacks and waterproof cases for electronics and things like that. And there I spent 6 years. So if we're talking about my career, I think that is the place I stayed the longest and kind of cut my teeth really in a marketing leadership role. So it was I was the first. Actually, was I the first? I think I was the first. I was the first black hire in the head of factory, but in the office, in the the main headquarters. I was the first black hire, and I was the first marketing professional to come there. So it was a kind of it was a medium-sized company. It wasn't. They were international, but they had a small kind of medium-sized kind of setup. So they didn't really have a marketing department at the time. I think the CEO and the sales director and their kind of teams chipped it. I think they were very much more sales focused than the marketing branding side of things. So I was their first marketing hire, and in that time I kind of grew the team and hired 3 people to kind of be part of the marketing department, as it were. So that was a really good role. Did quite a bit of travel in that role as well. And I kind of laugh sometimes at some of the things I did. So they made equipment for the outdoor industry, outdoor sports industry, outdoor activities. But one of their areas was fishing. And yes, really, really interesting. So a lot of my time, we did so many trade shows globally, and some of the fun ones were in kind of so Salt Lake City. I visited a couple of times, New York to do some PR work, but I had 2 trips to Las Vegas to a trade fishing show in Las Vegas, and it was the first time I went with the CEO and the product director, so the person who kind of designs the items, and we had a great time. It was very we had lots of fun there. The second year I was sent out on my own, so I went to do a trade fishing show on my own, and it was interesting, very interesting people. But I'm sure you're familiar with the kind of American consumers who do fishing and things like that. So it was quite different from a black South London girl. It was quite a bit
different, a little bit.
So, but yeah, they were all great experiences, and as you do, you kind of you learn so much about yourself and about different people that you engage with in those experiences. So so that was I think that was the company that I kind of really kind of cut my teeth in that type of position. And since I left, so I basically got married and had 2 children while I was at Aquapack. What happened was that during my second maternity leave, I basically decided to leave the organization. I had 2 children, very young children in tow, and I was going part-time in the last kind of year and a half or so. And I thought, you know, I've got two kids. I'm trying to balance the two and still kind of keep going. And I also felt like I needed a different challenge as well. I didn't want to give up work completely. I wanted to be able to manage, still being kind of connected to what I do, to marketing kind of sector, and support businesses that way. So I had a friend of mine who I actually spoke to just a couple of days ago, actually, decided she has a business where she imports African toys and books and kind of costumes for children. And she sells in nurseries and schools and things. And she runs kind of drumming workshops just for kids of all cultures to get in, to understand the African culture and to kind of learn about the African culture, and also for children of color to have some things, you know, some dolls and things that kind of reflect who they are. And so she asked me, she was relaunching her company, and she asked me if I could help her with her relaunch event and the PR around that. So I did that while I was still working in my job, and from there I basically decided to actually do more of my own kind of private work and work with companies. So I ended up leaving ACBAC and setting up my own consultancy, as it were, called GreenBean Marketing. So that's how GreenBean Marketing came about. It was in terms of the name, it was a really strange, you know, a few of us girls got around the table one evening, just drinking and having a laugh, and a number of us wanted to start up businesses. So we thought each kind of every couple of weeks would meet up and have drinks and things, and we kind of rotated, you know, whose house would be at. But each time we met, we said we would focus on one of our businesses. So it got to my turn, and we were kind of brainstorming names and things like that. And so GreenBean Marketing came about that, and it was all around giving companies and giving businesses and giving people the nutrients, the the kind of green beans to be able to get their business going, get their brand out there, get people to really understand and kind of buy into what they're offering. So that's how GreenBean Marketing was born.
Awesome. And so how did you end up becoming the director of marketing at WiM?
So I knew Ade. I've known her for nearly 20 years or so. I think before, I'm just trying to think how I got to meet her. Anyway, I was a member of the CIM, so the Chartered Institute of Marketing, which is where WiM actually began. So it's obviously as a membership organisation, they do courses and deliver qualifications in marketing. And she was they had regional kind of regional teams that delivered regional or local events to kind of engage the marketing community in those 8 areas. And she was a volunteer in one of the regional teams. I was a volunteer in one of the regional teams. And I think we were chatting, it was just myself, Ade, and I think there's a couple of other ladies. And she was really, I think we all were really kind of fed up with the same old type of events around marketing, generally men, white men in kind of suits and very kind of formal kind of events. And we wanted to bring a bit of difference, the I guess bring a bit more excitement to some of these events. She kind of had an idea to run an event around International Women's Day, and the region at the time agreed, and it was it was a huge success. I think we got some really kind of key women to be part of that. That was in 2004, so it's been 16 years or so now. And then since then, every year we would run an event, and it was just really getting women in marketing, communications, advertising together and just discuss the things that matter to us, whether it be environmental issues or gender issues or fashion or whatever within the marketing sphere. So that's how it kind of started, and and it's basically continued like that. I think it was 2016 we kind of broke away from the CIM and set up as a community interest company, which is it's just like a social enterprise. At that time, I was still a volunteer, very much involved in the events. We were doing awards then. The awards started in 2010. And then in 2017, we had a bit of a change at the top. So Ade was obviously the founder and the CEO. There was another 2 directors, and we had a bit of a move around. And I've always been very close to Ade. Talked about lots of kind of different things. I've always shared with her my passion to do more things in Africa, whether it be marketing or just my kind of connection to the continent. I'm originally from Ghana, although I was born and brought up in the UK. So I think 2017, because there was a bit of a movement at the leadership level with WiM, she asked me to come on as a director and also to push to grow the network on the continent. So that's how I got to be, where I am now with WiM. But I've always been part of WiM. I was one of the founding members of the organisation since 2004. So and Ade, she's like a big sister to me. We share a lot, and we always say, okay, we just need a quick update. This call will take 10-15 minutes max. 2 hours later, we're still on the phone. My boys are calling, Mom, can we, they're kind of trying to get my attention because I've been on the phone for hours with Ade. So it's great. And I think we obviously, we share the same vision in terms of how we grow the organization and how we need to, want to reach out to it's those women doing great things at the top of their organizations, but also there's so many women out there who are doing so much, such great work, but they're not getting the recognition for whatever reason, in what they do. They're not getting that recognition. So that's our job as well, to really find those women and just kind of engage with them and try and push them to the forefront. And I think for WiM Africa, that's one of the bigger things I'm charged with doing. There's so much creativity, so much great work that's being done on the continent, and a lot of it is coming out now. But there's still a number of, there's still so many women doing such great work, and it's just kind of highlighting what they're doing, and also trying to, when it comes to gender issues, the continent is so vast and so wide. It's different in every country, but it's important that we try and continue to push the equality and equity kind of agenda and the balance that is needed in organizations, to this day.
Awesome. And and it's so important because you're right. I mean, full disclosure, obviously I won the Storyteller of the Year award for this year's Women in Marketing, and I'm very honored. And it was the first award I've ever won in my 14-year career in advertising, I want to say.
I mean, yeah, that's a, I'm sure you do like amazing work. I've seen it, and it's just trying to highlight people like yourselves and others of that great work. So yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, because we're all so busy doing the work that we don't have time to put our heads up to, apply for these sorts of things. And I think, but for it not being a year of COVID, where I actually had some time and I actually read an email, I probably wouldn't I probably wouldn't have seen it because, everyone's just so busy. But I also think it's the recognition of women from around the world. Because I think oftentimes, especially in advertising and marketing, everything is just so Western centric, US centric, or US UK centric. That we don't realize that there are so many phenomenal women doing great work all across the globe. And as Africa ambassador, what are some interesting things that you're seeing?
We started, so one of the first things I did as the Africa ambassador was launch the Africa network. So in 2018, after our first visit to Cannes in the summer, 2018, I launched the WiM Africa Hub in Durban in South Africa. So it was launched at the Loeries. I don't know if you're familiar with the Loeries. It's
no.
It's an advertising festival, creative festival for the advertising industry on the continent and in the Middle East. So it's similar to Cannes Lion. So but for that region, for Africa and the Middle East, and it's a huge kind of creative festival, week-long festival and it's got the awards and things. And we had an event there where I invited the head of Facebook Africa to come and speak, a woman called Nunu Chingila. Had a marketing and insights director from Unilever, Stacey, come on and speak. They had so many amazing women. And the topic around that was changing the narrative in the media. So there's a lot of unhealthy stereotypes in the media and in advertising, and how we go about changing the narrative. So that was an amazing event. And what I'm doing now is actually trying to expand that a bit more. So we've got a strong kind of hold in South Africa. My targets this year really is to set up the network in Ghana and in Kenya. So that's what I'm trying to do. But one kind of really great thing that's just come through in the last week, actually, for WiM globally and also for WiM Africa, is that we've become a member of the Unstereotype Alliance. You're familiar with Unstereotype Alliance? Yeah. So they're it's an initiative, I guess you would say, convened by the UN Women, and it's got Unilever, IPG, some really great brands as their kind of founding members, and all they're trying to do is change the narrative around advertising. So trying to engage with organizations and businesses so that they change what is, some of the really negative images that people see in adverts in the media. And it's such important work, and we're so kind of happy that we're kind of part of this, and we're helping them kind of communicate or kind of push their messages out. And it's something that I'm really kind of excited about, and really looking forward to pushing. And hopefully it will, we'll see some change in the coming years. That's always the hope.
Awesome. That's so good. Looking back on, what you've been able to accomplish, what do you think you'd tell 25-year-old Andrea?
Goodness. 25-year-old Andrea. So, as I said at the beginning, I did lots of different things, worked in lots of different industries. I was always kind of keeping them moving forward, but I think I would tell 25-year-old Andrea to be a bit more intentional in the next step. So what you're doing, a bit more planning, I think, around my career choices. But saying that, it's kind of worked for the better, for the good, because when I started GreenBean Marketing, my own consultancy, having that knowledge across all those different industries, working with all those different types of people, it's really helped me go out there and be able to engage with companies, again, across different industries to help them with their marketing strategies and branding. So I would still give that advice, but I, on the other hand, I quite like the fact that I've done so many different things and worked in so many industries. I mean, the other thing I would say to that Andrea would be to don't be afraid to kind of show yourself. Don't be afraid to just sit in who you are and kind of show who you are in your work environment. I think I was very much, I wouldn't say a wallflower, but I put on the face. I put on that you do in the corporate world and kind of assimilated into the culture and you know, as you do when you're younger anyway, and try to get ahead that way. But I think when you are yourself, you know, you come with a different level of kind of creativity, kind of different thoughts and, you know, different ideas. And I think I could have done with a bit more of that when I was younger. You know, obviously it comes out later in life, in your career, but it would have been helpful, I think, at that point.
Awesome and fantastic advice. You know, it's so important that folks understand that from early on. So thanks for sharing that one. We're so excited to have Soho Works as the sponsor for the 29 Days of Magic campaign. You know, they're designed by Soho House, and their workspaces to help creative thinkers, businesses small and large, connect, collaborate, and grow. And it's where I'm recording all the episodes of 29 Days of Magic. It's a safe, wonderful and collaborative experience. I'm currently in the Brooklyn location, but they have locations, one else in New York City, in the Meatpacking District, one in LA, 5 in the UK, and they give you that kind of home away from home feeling with all the tools, technology, equipment to help you do your best work. Like I said, it's an amazing location, feels safe. I've been able to meet some really awesome people, which you haven't been able to do a lot because of the fact of COVID. So it's been a wonderful experience being able to record here and help build community. So if you want to find out more information about it, please go to sohoworks.com to get more information and tell them I sent you. And now back to the show. So obviously you're in the UK, you've got kids, there's lockdown. What in the world are you doing for your self-care?
Oh my gosh. I'm really thinking about this. To be honest, this past year since lockdown it's been horrific for so many thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of people. It has been. And personally, I've had a number of people close to my family who've kind of really suffered, either had distant family members pass away and things like that. But this time I haven't. So I finished a contract role, not to do with WiM, kind of mid-March. So the UK went into lockdown towards the end of March. So I finished that contract, and I haven't had I've been doing bits and pieces with companies doing a bit of freelancing, and I've obviously been doing the WiM activities. But I haven't had a full-time job, as it were, to kind of engage in, although I have been kept busy. But not having that has actually helped me a great deal to really be present and to kind of look back at what's been going on in my life over the years, and it's just, I've, in taking that time to kind of be present in yourself and to really dig into yourself, find out what's going on with yourself has been kind of priceless. Self-care these days, I do try and meditate in the mornings or pray in the mornings. I do try and take a walk at least 3 or 4 times a week. I do some exercise in the house, but I do try and get out 3 or 4 times a week for a walk by myself. But yeah, just I think being present a bit more and trying to listen to your intuition about certain things, certain projects and things kind of really helps. Just helps with understanding who you are and being happy in who you are.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the walks. Like I try and go for a walk at least once a week, but that could also be that like I'm wandering aimlessly around. Before it got cold, I was riding my bike every week. well, just kind of getting outside and getting fresh air is just so necessary, because it's still a weird time for everybody.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what is going on? You know,
Well, I mean, one of the sorry to cut you. One of the things I'm trying to do more of, and the past 10 years or so, I try to plan things more. So even at the early part of my career, I was just letting things flow, seeing what happens with the next role and the next thing. I guess when the kids came and that, I was planning everything out really, really well. What I'm doing now is actually going back to that place where you just let things flow. You just see what comes to you, kind of get a gauge of how it feels in your gut, and then go forward with it or not, and trying to do that a bit more, which I think it's been, it's been it's been a bit of a revelation to me, because it's not something I'm used to. So it does take some work, but I think it helps. It helps a great deal to really also attract the things that are you're looking for as well.
So very key as well. So you're chock full of great advice. So last question for you: do you have a give and or an ask of the audience?
A give. I'm a huge one for quotes. So there's one of the amazing quotes from Eleanor Roosevelt was what is it? Oh gosh, the thing about badly behaved women really.
Really? Cause badly, I think it's badly behaved women rarely are the ones who actually make change, or something to that effect.
Yeah, something like that. So basically, just in essence, be yourself. Anyway, I love that quote, and I've got it on one of my business cards, I think, and it's amazing. But I just kind of looking back at, prep for this and looking back at some of the things that I'd done. I remember Cannes Lions last year, I think 2019. You were there. That's when we did Inkwell Beach, right? Yep. Yeah, amazing. And there was a lady called Gabby Rivera. She attended, I attended, and she was on the stage at the IPG breakfast. And there's one thing that she said in her kind of her talk was, "I'm too grown to be small in myself," and it just kind of really resonated with me in terms that you just need to be yourself and be your kind of best self in whatever you do. Don't play small, and so that's my give, really. I love quotes, and they always seem to come at the best time when I really can really kind of do with them. So that's my quote to the world, to help whoever needs it right now.
That's awesome. And honestly, a really awesome quote. And I think, it's emblematic of, why I'm doing this, because we should, especially as women in business, we absolutely should be ourselves and be big, bright stars. Like, don't shrink ourselves because you think you have to be in a certain box. And so I think you're so right. It's like, no, I'm too grown for this. It's an ideal that we have to remember. And I think even with the kind of craziness that is us being under lockdown, a year of COVID, still there are opportunities and ways where you can find yourself and be bigger and bolder than you ever thought you could be, because you can be. Don't let anything hold you back. So that's a great give. Thank you, Andrea.
I do have an ask as well, if that's okay.
Yeah, you are totally allowed.
Brilliant. So, as we talked about, I'm heading up WiM Africa, so Women in Marketing Africa. And as I said, I'm trying to grow the network. So anyone who's listening to this, who is connected to the continent, or you're a marketing or communications or advertising professional, and a woman, and want to be part of this huge, amazing network, please get in contact with me on LinkedIn. We're looking, as I said, to set up hubs across the continent. The ideal will be to have one in every single country on the continent. So I just need to engage with as many African women and men as well who are in marketing, advertising, communications on the continent as possible. So if that's you, please connect with me on LinkedIn. Let's have a chat and let's see what we can do.
Awesome. And we'll put all your details in the show notes so folks can reach out. Andrea, it's such a delight to have you on the show. The work you all do at WiM is wonderful. And I love that you came on to share your story and some really great advice. Like I said, WiM will always have a special place in my heart, and I am so thrilled to be part of the community. So thank you so very much for joining me on the show today.
Thank you for all you're doing as well. You're doing the same thing, highlighting all these women who are doing amazing things, and that's this platform is an amazing way to do that. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you, and that is our show.